Welcome to our video on the top 10 countries where UK citizens are not welcome in 2024. As global travel becomes increasingly influenced by political tensions, diplomatic relations, and security concerns, certain destinations have become less accessible for British travelers. Whether due to strained international relations, strict visa policies, or concerns over safety and government hostility, these countries have made it difficult or even dangerous for UK citizens to visit. In this video, we'll explore the reasons behind these tensions, ranging from historical conflicts to recent political developments, and highlight the risks British nationals face when attempting to enter these nations. From isolated regimes like North Korea and war-torn regions like Syria, to countries grappling with political instability or viewing Western visitors with suspicion, we'll take a closer look at why these places have become less welcoming to UK citizens. If you're planning to travel in 2024, it's important to be aware of these challenges and understand the complexities that may arise. Let's dive into the top 10 countries where UK citizens may find it difficult or unwise to visit this year. 15. Myanmar, Burma. Since the military coup in Myanmar in 2021, the country has been gripped by political instability and violent conflict. The UK has been vocal in condemning the military's actions, including its crackdown on pro-democracy protesters and the persecution of ethnic minorities like the Rohingya. These political tensions have made Myanmar an unwelcoming destination for UK citizens. The military government is suspicious of foreign visitors, particularly those from Western countries that have imposed sanctions or spoken out against its human rights abuses. Travel to Myanmar in 2024 is highly dangerous due to the ongoing violence and instability. UK citizens are at risk of harassment, detention, or even violence if they are suspected of political activity. The UK government strongly advises against all but essential travel to Myanmar, making it one of the least welcoming countries for British nationals. 14. Cuba. Cuba has had a complex relationship with Western countries, including the UK, due to its political system and its alignment with other non-Western powers. Although diplomatic relations between the UK and Cuba are generally stable, UK citizens may still find it challenging to travel freely in Cuba. The Cuban government is cautious about foreign influence, and political tensions with Western countries can result in increased scrutiny of British travelers. UK citizens involved in activities that could be perceived as political or critical of the Cuban government may face surveillance or even detention. Additionally, the lack of infrastructure, ongoing economic issues, and restrictions on certain freedoms make Cuba a less than welcoming destination for some British nationals. While tourists are generally allowed to visit, the strict government controls can make travel feel restrictive. 13. Turkey. Turkey has long been a popular destination for UK tourists due to its rich history, beautiful landscapes, and cultural diversity. However, in recent years, political tensions between Turkey and the West, including the UK, have risen. The Turkish government under President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has been increasingly authoritarian, cracking down on dissent, the press, and perceived foreign interference. British travelers may face issues if they are suspected of political activity or if they are journalists or human rights workers. Additionally, the ongoing conflict with Kurdish groups and the situation in neighboring Syria have made certain areas of Turkey dangerous for foreigners. While Turkey remains a key destination for many UK tourists, the political climate and security concerns in 2024 make it a country where some UK citizens may feel unwelcome or face additional risks. 12. China. China has become increasingly strict in its treatment of foreign travelers, including those from the UK. Diplomatic relations between China and the UK have been tense in recent years due to issues like the UK's stance on Hong Kong, concerns about human rights abuses in Xinjiang, and criticism of China's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. These tensions have led to heightened scrutiny of British visitors. UK citizens may experience delays or difficulties in obtaining visas, and they are often subject to increased surveillance during their stay. The Chinese government has been known to detain foreigners on charges of espionage or for political reasons, making it a potentially risky destination. While China offers incredible cultural and natural attractions, the political atmosphere and the potential for complications with authorities make it a less welcoming destination for UK travelers in 2024. 11. Saudi Arabia. While Saudi Arabia is a major destination for business and religious tourism, it remains a complicated place for UK citizens to visit. Diplomatic relations between the UK and Saudi Arabia have been tense due to human rights concerns, particularly in the aftermath of high-profile cases like the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Although UK citizens are generally granted visas for tourism or business, the conservative Islamic laws and strict enforcement of rules can make it difficult for many travelers to feel comfortable. Public expressions of dissent, criticism of the government, or violations of religious customs can lead to serious legal consequences for visitors. Additionally, ongoing concerns over human rights, freedom of expression, and gender equality can make the country unappealing or even hostile to some British nationals. Travelers are advised to respect local customs, but the restrictive environment often makes it a challenging destination. 10. Belarus. Belarus has become increasingly isolated from Western countries since the controversial 2020 presidential election, which saw President Alexander Lukashenko retain power amidst widespread accusations of election fraud. The UK, along with other Western nations, has imposed sanctions on Belarus and condemned its human rights abuses. In response, the Belarusian government has taken a hostile stance toward Western visitors, including UK citizens. Travel to Belarus is difficult due to visa restrictions, and British travelers may face harassment or detention by local authorities. The political situation in Belarus remains tense, and the UK government has issued travel warnings advising citizens to avoid non-essential travel to the country. In 2024, Belarus is one of the most unwelcoming countries for UK nationals. 9. Venezuela. Venezuela's political and economic crisis has worsened over the past decade, and in 2024, the country remains deeply divided. The UK has been critical of the Venezuelan government, particularly under President Nicolas Maduro, and this has led to strained diplomatic relations. UK citizens are often viewed with suspicion by the Venezuelan authorities, and the country's volatile political climate makes it a difficult destination for British travelers. The ongoing economic crisis has led to widespread shortages of food, medicine, and basic services, making travel difficult and potentially dangerous. Additionally, the risk of violent crime, particularly in major cities like Caracas, is high, and the UK government advises against all but essential travel to Venezuela. 8. Libya. Since the fall of Muammar Gaddafi in 2011, Libya has been mired in conflict and political instability. Multiple factions continue to vie for control of the country, and the security situation remains highly volatile. The UK has been involved in diplomatic efforts to stabilize Libya, but the country's ongoing conflict and hostility toward Western intervention have made it a dangerous destination for UK citizens. Travel to Libya is fraught with risks, including kidnapping, terrorism, and violent clashes between rival militias. The UK government advises against all travel to Libya, and British citizens are often viewed with suspicion by both government forces and rebel groups. In 2024, Libya remains an unsafe and unwelcoming destination for UK travelers. 7. Somalia. Somalia has long been plagued by instability, and in 2024, it remains a challenging and dangerous destination for UK citizens. The country is home to various militant groups, including the extremist group Al-Shabaab, which poses a serious threat to foreigners, especially Westerners. The UK has been involved in counter-terrorism efforts in Somalia, which has led to increased hostility toward British citizens. Travel to Somalia is highly discouraged due to the risk of kidnapping, terrorism, and violent crime. The Somali government has limited control over large parts of the country, and foreign travelers are often targeted by militant groups. In addition, the lack of infrastructure and basic services makes travel extremely difficult, further contributing to Somalia's reputation as an unwelcoming destination for UK citizens. 6. Yemen. Yemen has been ravaged by civil war since 2015, and the security situation in the country remains dire. The UK has been involved in international efforts to address the humanitarian crisis in Yemen, but the ongoing conflict has made it virtually impossible for UK citizens to travel there. Both the Houthi rebels and the internationally recognized government have been suspicious of foreign involvement, particularly from Western countries. The country is rife with conflict, terrorist activity, and a lack of basic infrastructure, which makes travel extremely dangerous. The UK government has issued strict warnings against travel to Yemen, and British citizens who attempt to visit are likely to face detention or violence. In 2024, Yemen remains one of the most dangerous and unwelcoming countries for UK nationals. 5. Syria. Syria has been embroiled in a devastating civil war for more than a decade, and the situation remains unstable in 2024. The conflict has drawn in multiple international actors, including Western countries like the UK, which has supported rebel groups and called for the ousting of President Bashar al-Assad. This has made UK citizens unwelcome in Syria, where the government views Westerners with suspicion. The war-torn country remains extremely dangerous, with widespread destruction, terrorist activity, and a lack of infrastructure to support tourism. Travel to Syria is highly restricted, and UK citizens face significant risks, including kidnapping, terrorism, and violent conflict. The UK government advises against all travel to Syria, making it one of the least welcoming countries for British travelers. 4. Afghanistan. Since the Taliban's return to power in Afghanistan in 2021, the country has become increasingly hostile to Westerners, including UK citizens. The UK was heavily involved in the military conflict in Afghanistan, and the Taliban views Western influence with suspicion. The current government has made it clear that they do not welcome foreign intervention, and UK citizens traveling to Afghanistan face significant risks. The security situation in Afghanistan remains volatile, with ongoing threats from terrorist groups like ISIS, and the Taliban's strict interpretation of Islamic law creates additional risks for Western travelers. The UK government strongly advises against all travel to Afghanistan, as UK citizens are likely to face detention, harassment, or worse, making it one of the most dangerous and unwelcoming countries for British nationals. 3. Iran. Tensions between Iran and the UK have fluctuated over the years, but in 2024, political relations remain strained. Iran's complex relationship with Western countries, particularly due to issues like sanctions, nuclear agreements, and conflicts in the Middle East, has made it a challenging destination for UK citizens. UK travelers face strict visa requirements, and the Iranian government is often suspicious of Western visitors, particularly those from countries involved in sanctions against Iran. In the past, there have been instances where UK citizens were detained on suspicion of espionage or political activities. The political instability and security risks in Iran, coupled with its strict interpretation of Islamic laws, make it a difficult and potentially dangerous destination for UK travelers. 2. Russia. In recent years, relations between the UK and Russia have deteriorated significantly due to a series of political and diplomatic issues, including the poisoning of former Russian spy Sergei Skripal in the UK and the subsequent diplomatic fallout. As a result, UK citizens are not viewed favorably by the Russian government, and the country has imposed stricter visa requirements and increased scrutiny on British travelers. The political tensions have led to travel advisories warning UK citizens about potential risks when visiting Russia, such as harassment, arrest, or difficulties in dealing with local authorities. Russia's increasing estrangement from Western countries, coupled with ongoing geopolitical tensions, makes it a less welcoming destination for UK travelers in 2024. 1. North Korea. North Korea is one of the most isolated and closed-off countries in the world, and it has long been hostile to Western influence, including UK citizens. Travel to North Korea is heavily restricted, and entry is only possible through organized tours that are tightly controlled by the North Korean government. Political tensions between North Korea and Western countries have made the situation even more challenging for UK citizens. The UK, like many other nations, has no direct diplomatic representation in North Korea, which complicates matters for those seeking entry. Additionally, North Korea's volatile political climate, its human rights record, and its unpredictable relationships with other countries make it one of the most challenging destinations for UK travelers. The risk of detention for even minor infractions, combined with the strict surveillance of foreign visitors, makes North Korea a country where UK citizens are largely unwelcome.